Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. It's kind of warm in this apartment. I'm relaxing, trying to wrap my mind around everything that's going on in the NBA right now. Rick Carlisle and Donnie Nelson Jr. both out in Dallas. Zion Williamson's family wants him out of New Orleans, aka Zion can't wait to get the hell out of there. That's what that means. And Luka apparently wants out of Dallas, even though that's not really circulating. It's just the same situation that James Harden found himself in last year with the Rockets, where the rug, the proverbial rug, got snatched up from under him, and now everything that he knew, his coach, his GM, are gonna be just gone, and they're no closer to a championship, and it's probably a rebuilding time, and they're going to rebuild around him, and he's young, and I don't think he wants to be rebuilded around. I think he sees himself as an elite talent right now, which his numbers dictate that he is. I think he sees young players like Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker and Trey Young still alive in these playoffs, thriving, and I think he wants to be a part of a situation like that. I don't think that he wants, even though he's a very young player, I don't think he wants to start a rebuilding process, and I don't blame him. Same goes with Zion, and that's what they need to understand about some of these young players. Just because your timeline dictates that you bring in young talent and then that young talent can flourish over time and build your franchise up to where it needs to be, the kids that are coming in today, they're not going for that. They want to be where LeBron James is now. They want to be in positions like Joel Embiid is in now. They don't want to be on bad franchises and wait 3 and 4, 5, 7 years to be a part of something that's going to allow them championships, because they want to be historically great. So they got to start winning championships early. They know that. A guy like Devin Booker, they look at him and they say, man, he should have always been on good teams. They look at a guy like Bradley Beal. He might have been a couple championships in if he was on the right franchise. These kids are coming in very, very much aware of the business. They know how the teams should look and how they should be played, because NBA 2K and in fantasy basketball and things like that have allowed them a different perspective in terms of what they should be, who they should be playing with, and what types of scenarios look good for themselves, not to mention their own basketball IQ. Obviously, as professionals and greats in this case, I do not think they want to wait around for you to get it right. Franchises, I don't think a guy like Zion and his family are sitting here saying, yeah, let's see if they can give it a 3 or 4 more years. Maybe we can add some pieces here, me and Brandon Ingram, and we can slowly but surely work it out. No, this is the instant gratification era, and most importantly, they know who's coming into the league. It's only going to get more and more competitive. You got great players that still have yet to be drafted that are going to be coming in. Your window to establish yourself as a superstar and an all-star is going to start to shrink. It's very important that the NBA begin to expand their teams. And I've said this before, you're going to end up having a surplus of great talent in bad situations or in limited situations. And while that may be good in the name of trying to keep guys from being injured, what it doesn't do is make for guys getting that exposure to show exactly what they're good at. And so I heard that the NBA is looking to expand. There should be 2 teams coming, I think, within the next couple of years. I think they may want to expedite that process based on what it is I'm saying. Because just like I told you guys several years ago, the NBA was going to start, having more and more big men centers who are going to start having more important roles on winning teams, and that we had not seen that at the time, but it was coming. Well, now what I'm telling you is you're going to get an influx of talented players just in general. And what you're going to have is very talented benches, but players on the back of those benches not getting consistent opportunities, and that's a problem. That's going to be a significant problem going forward. But anyway, nevertheless, now you're looking at these young players, and I would not be surprised if these 2 franchises try to swap these 2 superstar kids for one another. This is sort of like the Russell Westbrook, John Wall situation, to where these 2 players, even though they have so much value, you can't retain either one of their value unless you trade them for one another, because that's how great and young they are. You could try to swing a trade for like an Anthony Davis or something like that if you're trying to pull a Luka Doncic situation off. I don't know if the Lakers would be inclined to do something like that, but you know what I'm saying. That's the type of thing you're looking for if you're the Dallas Mavericks. Uh, but in reality, you're probably not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to get legacy talent. Uh, but another disgruntled superstar, youngster, may make sense. So even though no one's saying it yet, I'm sure they'll start Luka Doncic for Zion Williamson. Makes sense. It makes sense. How else are you going to get the value for one another? You gotta swap one for the other. So, and to be honest with you, I'm not happy if I'm them. I don't want to do that. If I'm Zion, I have no interest in going to Dallas. For what? That's a lateral move for me. And if I'm Luka, I have no interest in going to New Orleans. For what? That's a lateral move for me. And both of those situations are pretty much the same because the coaching situation has changed there in both situations. And even though David Griffin is in place right now, I could imagine if things don't work out over the next year or so, he's probably going to be out of there too. So it's like, if you're looking down the pipeline, if you're either one of those kids in their camps, I don't want to be in either one of those situations. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Because I got a feeling both of them are going to try to force their way out of their situations. Now, Luka is more likely to be the one that stays in Dallas because I think that situation's a bit more appealing in theory than New Orleans. But Zion, I'd imagine he wants out, man. I'd imagine that was a bad situation because the team was just clogged last year. The paint was clogged. There was not enough shooting. Stan Van Gundy, they fired him, but it's like, what do they have to offer? We're going to have to see what happens with the draft. We're going to have to see what happens going forward with their free agency situation. What happens with Lonzo? What happens with Brandon Ingram? They got some things they got to figure out. They got a surplus of young guards. They got to figure it all out. So we'll see what David Griffin has up his sleeve. But if he doesn't get this right, I can imagine he's going to lose that job. Because this is bad press to have come out the same day that you fire your coach that Zion Williamson and his family are unhappy. That's very bad, very, very bad press. And being is that you've lost Anthony Davis over the last 2 years, the fact that Zion wants out, that's bad. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not surprised. I said that early on. He would probably want out of there sooner than later. New Orleans is an appealing city to a degree, but to be honest with you, it still has that concern for a lot of people, especially people of color, because we understand Katrina. We were affected by that, just like everyone who was out there was affected by that, and we saw that. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, you want to visit there, but living there, that place is shaped like a bowl, man, and the same thing that happened could still take place again, to be completely honest with you. Now, that, like, I don't want to, speak that into the earth, but what I'm saying is, if I'm an athlete, maybe that's in the back of my mind, honestly, maybe that's part of it. So if the team ain't no good, I don't know that I want to live there, man. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. That's just me. Now, visiting, beautiful city, full of love and laughter and good culture, yeah, definitely want to visit. But if I'm an athlete and the team sucks, do I want to be in New Orleans? And the answer for me is no. No, get me out of here. Now, if the team's good, yeah, we cool. But if the team's bad, nah, I'm out. And that's what it comes down to for me. So that's what it is. Zion needs to make a decision on his future if he's going to force his way out of there like AD did. Be strategic about it. That's what I would say. Be strategic about it. Make sure you have the right representation. And be patient, because it did take Anthony a while. Those are some serious wheelers and dealers over there. New Orleans, they drive a hard bargain. And if they're going to give away a superstar, we've already seen it's going to have to be a steep price they're going to pay. And it was hard. They did not want to give away AD, and I think they value Zion even more. So this could potentially not get resolved at all. given what I remember about the New Orleans Pelicans, this may not happen. But if they got a chance to get Luka Doncic, they may. Trust you me, they may. And vice versa with Mark Cuban. If I can get Zion Williamson, I don't want to give up Luka. But if I can get back Zion, yeah, I may be inclined to do that. So remember what I said. That makes sense for both franchises. Maybe not for the players, but hey, I don't think Westbrook really wanted to go to the Washington Wizards, but it was the only place he could go. Now, I know this sounds crazy because though in theory, every team wants those two players. So they should have all of the teams lined up ready to give out a package for those two players. But will any of those packages be better than either one of those two players if you're either one of the GMs? And the answer is, I don't see how when I consider the value of those two players. I think they both Hall of Famers. I think they're both the face of the league. I think you're trading one for 1A, basically, when you're considering the stars of this league going forward. Arguably, a few other names, of course, that get thrown in there respectfully, but like these are the guys. So, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Like, how many picks are you going to do? How are you going to outbid Dallas when they got Luka? How are you going to outbid New Orleans when they got Zion? That's going to be the question. So, I already see it coming. That's what's going to be on the table. You heard it here first, and that's what I'm coming to tell you. I got a feeling that makes sense. It just makes sense. Just like the Harden situation, seeing that made sense. Seeing that he would want out of there after that situation, after everybody got fired, and Luka's gonna look at his tea leaves. He's gonna go back, and look around, and he's gonna say the same. He's gonna come to the same conclusion that I'm in a James Harden position, and he's either going to want to see what they do. You know what I mean? Wait to see what they do. Maybe he's curious about staying there, and maybe he thinks the improvements will be just that, or he'll take the James Harden route and say, "No, I got to leave this place. I'm not doing this." So the table's laid out flat for him. He's going to definitely have everything out there to look at. And remember this about Luka. He's been a pro for a while now. He's not a regular young player because he's been a professional overseas. He's won MVPs overseas. He's been a part of business situations, albeit a different level, but still he knows how this goes. So don't expect him to drive a low bargain. Don't expect him to drive a hard bargain. He's going to make sure he's happy. I got a feeling about that. I just have a weird feeling about that. There's rumors running around that's saying he wants to be a Laker. I don't know if we could. I don't know how we would be able to pull that off without giving up one of the two stars. I don't think the Lakers are going to be inclined to make a deal like that with those two players, either one of those two players involved. So I don't see us getting it unless he just says it's the only place I want to go. As to which we would have to give up everything, which I would be very happy to do. Very, very happy to do. Could have it all. Leave us with nothing but Luka, just like we were going to do with Kawhi. We can do that with Luka Doncic. I'd be very comfortable with that. I would. I know some people would say trading LeBron James makes sense if Luka's on the table. In theory, it actually does. But I would not disrespect LeBron James that way, so that's not on the table for me. But if I were cut and dry and cutthroat, I would consider a package, but they would have to give me more than just Luka. They would have to give me picks. They would have to give me Hardaway. They would have to give me a lot if they're going to pry away LeBron James. A lot more than just Luka Doncic. And quite frankly, they would be paying more than they should in that case. That's what that would really come down to. If they were going to try to pull a LeBron James, Luka Doncic trade, they would be overpaying just for the legacy of LeBron. You see what I'm saying? They would overpay. It doesn't matter if Luka is going to do more this season or next. It doesn't matter because you're paying for the legacy. So, no deal at all, in my opinion. But like I said, there are going to be people out there who want to trade Anthony Davis for him. It's not. Trust me, this is just getting started. You're going to hear the rumor mill about Luka Doncic and Zion Williamson. And expect the Knicks to get involved in Zion Williamson talks. Expect the Bulls to get involved. Expect the Wizards to get involved. Every team with a star that may want to move on is going to try to get involved in both of those conversations. So keep that in mind as well. Bradley Beal for Luka Doncic. You're going to hear those conversations. Names like Jaylen Brown may come up. I'm telling you, this is going to get interesting. Ben Simmons' name is going to be all over this conversation. Believe me, but I don't see either one of them teams doing that. But trust you me, though, if Philadelphia loses next game, which I think they will, Ben Simmons is going to be on the market. So look for all these names. You can clearly see that the NBA is, right now, it's like you're seeing small earthquakes. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at the news that's happening right now. It's like little quakes taking place all over the place, and the big one's coming. Because you're just getting a plethora of news where teams are looking to make big decisions to cleanse and clean out their front offices to try to make themselves more appealing to the stars that they're trying to keep. Phoenix has pretty much changed the game. The way that they were able to turn things around in basically 18 months, going from one of the worst and most laughed at franchises to being one of the best franchises. Say the same thing with the Brooklyn Nets as well. The way they were able to turn it around so very quickly. You have to think that other teams are looking around, the Timberwolves of the world, the Bulls of the world, the Knicks of the world, teams that want to get better. You can clearly see the Kings, if I didn't already say them already, Thunder with a lot of picks. They're going to be looking at situations like, we can swing a couple moves and find ourselves in a position to get one of those guys. And now, the Thunder. This brings me to something very, very, very important. They have the assets to try to outbid Dallas and New Orleans, respectively. If anybody were to try to mess that up, the Zion Luka trade, if anybody could mess it up, it would be the Thunder, because they have a plethora of picks that could be an offer you cannot refuse. They got so many picks that they could probably swing it so that they can put them two dudes together in Oklahoma City. Can you imagine? Let me stop and think about what I just said right now. Luka Doncic and Zion Williamson in Oklahoma City. It's possible because they have that many picks. They literally have that many picks, y'all. So keep an eye on that. I don't know if they're thinking that way. I would be. If I'm OKC, I would be. And let me tell you, if they can keep Shea on that team, if they can find a way to do something crazy like that and keep Shea on that team, Luka Doncic, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and Zion Williamson, what a dream trio that would be to go forward with their franchise. Pick up right where they left off. And I think that team might get a championship. I think that team would get a championship, as a matter of fact. So look out, man. I don't know. You got to think big, especially if you're the Thunder, because you don't want to turn into the Celtics. You don't want to be Philly either, where you hoard all these picks and you do all this losing and you don't get the value for it. When you get something like this type of opportunity, you better recognize it like I just did and try to make it happen. If I'm Sam Presti, I'm going to try to make that happen. Zion and Luka. Flood them picks that you got. You got like 16 to 17 of them. Divide them up. Hand them to both of those franchises. And relieve them of their financial stresses in regards to their cap, because they won't have any problems with their cap if they replace those stars with those picks. And those picks will potentially be valuable. But they could potentially not, because those teams are going to be great. But you have picks from other teams. Those picks could be valuable as well. They've hoarded picks from everywhere, so it doesn't matter. It's not just their own picks they have. That's the beauty of it. Listen,
get creative. If you're a GM, you get creative. It's the GMs that try to swing stuff like this that ultimately keep their jobs and get other opportunities. It's the GMs that stand pat and do nothing that ultimately get fired and never seen again. It's the truth. Now, I think I've said everything I wanted to say in regards to the news that I've heard. I'm pretty sure more news will come because that's just how the thing this week has been. But I thank you guys for watching. My name is BDF44. I'm out.